Hello guys, how's it doing? Following up with our lab. So we have basic connectivity between these devices, right? Uh, let's jump on the Active Directory server and check the basic configuration that we need to know or check on the ICE and FMC. So the idea of this lab is shows to you guys the new dashboard on FMC, which came on the version 6.6, and the new dashboard for ICE, which comes on this new the 3.0 version. So let's check it out together. It downloaded. Okay, downloads this guy here. Okay, let me check one thing. Sometimes this guy here gets stuck. I need to close it and then try again. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Administrator. Oh, let's jump with my account since this is done. Okay. So what else we have here to do today? Let me change the screens. So it's logging. Here we go. So some commands that we can do it. We can check this, but the main focus here to show to you guys the dashboard from these two devices. Add FTD on FMC. So yesterday we just configured the on the last video just configured the IP address on FMC. So right now we need to follow the setup on the WebGI. So that's what we're gonna do from this server. We'll connect to this server, open a web browser, type the IP address of the FMC, type the IP address of ICE, and start to configure it then. Okay, that's the first thing that you're gonna do on this video. So here we go. We have all the services up and running. We also gonna start to configure the DNS, right? Because we can, instead of use the IP address to log in, we can use the DNS. It will be good to us. Let's see it. So let's go with Google Chrome. Let's go to FMC01 with 10.119. So https / 10.1.1.9, and let's go to ICE also, which is 10.1.1.7. 10.1.1.7. Oops, not 17.7. Here we go. We have the issue with certificate. I'm gonna show you guys more details about that, but as you can see here, FMC and ICE will use its own certificate, the self-generated certificate, and the browser is complaining because probably there is a host name. So this certificate is generated for this host name, and we are accessing with the IP address. That's why, and we are gonna fix that. Okay, so the basic, the full login password admin with admin123. And now FMC will ask us some questions. We'll need to follow with that basic configuration. So first of all, change the password at dirty.123 at dirty123. Okay, I think I committed a typo here at dirty123 and at dirty123. Here we go. we have a match. First thing, change the password. Then we should accept the EULA, this guy will be FMC01 dot securitylab.com. Gonna use static key. We will use our local DNS, which is 10.1.1.5 10.1.1.5. I don't want to check others, so the NTP, we are also gonna use ours, which is is 10.1.254 because it's running on the SW01 254. So just this. So this is the first 3 steps: change the password, accept the EULA, and configure DNS, configure the host name, the NTP, and here it goes. So while this guy is finish this step, let's go to ICE. And ICE is gonna use the same thing, right? It is using its own certificate, and that's why you see this error. Same thing here. Here we go. icesecurityLab.com, but it is the self-generated certificate, and this machine doesn't trust on that, so that's why. Okay, here we go. We are gonna use the 19-day evaluation period because we don't have license to that. I will try to bring a license, or at least a temporary one, and I will told you guys what will be the difference between the evaluation period and when you have some license. But this is to us look forward for that. Okay, here it goes, admin, and the password, if I type it correctly. Okay, nope, admin at DIRTY123. I think now it's gonna work. So while this guy, it's okay, just jumping on. So let's keep on. So let's go to the overview. The first thing is the dashboard. While ICE is loading, so we're gonna add the FTD01 on FMC. This is one of the first things that we should do it, and I should change that because this is the video number 4, and we are doing the FMC and FTD integration. And for these guys here, I'm gonna just delete this for now. Let's keep like this. Okay, here we go. So this is the main dashboard of FMC, right? When we cannot see anything yet because there is no device registered. So let's jump to the FTD right now and do the initial setup for it and check it out. So basic thing here, right? Let me put on the full screen for you guys, and let me swap you here, and you should be here and here. Here you go. So admin with admin 123, and accept the EULA. I just type Q here and go to the end, agree. Okay, system. Okay, here we go. So enter the new password at dirty123, same thing. Here it goes. Okay, we're gonna configure IPv4. Yes, we don't have yet IPv6. Will be manual, and the IP address of this guy is 10.1.1.10. 10.1.1.10. Yes, that's the mask. 10.1.1.254. Will be FTD 01.securityLab.com. 10.1.1.5, if I correctly, yes, it is 10.1.1.5, our DNS server. The domain is securitylab.com, only this for now. Okay, it's gonna bring up the network. Let's check it out if ICE comes up. Here we go, ICE comes up. Let me provide that later. This is the call home telemetry, when you can put your Cisco account here, and if you have some issues, if you want to report directly to Cisco and ICE has internet connectivity, you can do that. I will provide that later. I don't think it's a good one. Okay, when we are on the evaluation license for ICE, we have 19 days of the three kind of licenses that ICE has. I will explain to you guys that, but later when we start to work with ICE. So here it goes. This device will not be managed locally. We will have managed on the FMC, so the answer here is no. And let's wait a little bit. While that, let's take a look here on the FMC. What else we can do? We can check. So under device, as you can see, there is it's separated right now, the device upgrade and device management. This is one of the new things that comes with 7.0. I think until the 6.6 it does not support dynamic access policy, but now it's supporting. There is, what else there is new here? We have now under the intrusion policy, we have snort 2 and snort 3 to manage. That's one of the the new things that we have it here. But well, we will keep working with FMC and FTD, and we will talk more about the new things that this new version has. Okay, here we go. So there is the two modes to work. So the transparent mode, which Cisco call jumping a wire, so we can put the firewall between the network and the firewall will not be one hop on the network. So this will be transparent to all the clients, so we can jump the firewall between two switches, and this will work without an IP address. So it will check the traffic, it can block the traffic, but to the user they will not see the IP address of this device on the network. But we can do that also. It's a good idea to show to you guys how to configure the transparent mode, but let's focus on the routed mode when the firewall has an IP address. So if you implement this mode, there is an impact. For example, we have to plan everything like we are doing right now, but we can build another lab with the transparent mode, and I can show to you guys more about it. Okay, so it's configuring the firewall mode. Let's wait for it. What else we can talk about here? Cisco ICE, it's up and running. I will show, this is the new dashboard that comes on this 3.0 version. I like it because I think it's more clear, and as you can see, it's close to very close to the FMC. And if you already had the chance to work with DNA Center, it looks the same, right? So I think Cisco is standardizing all the WebGI for this device. Still configure firewall modes. So here where it is where we can check, for example, the number of authentications, the network device, how much endpoints, the BYOD endpoints. There is some alarms that we can configure, that we can see it here. How the node it is. So for example, this node has some top memory uses for a while, and now it's apparently it's okay, but this is normally this is because it's virtual, and we have some devices here that will use a lot of resources. So that's why I'm looking this, but that's normal for the lab, not normal for the real world. But what else we can check here? So as you can see, if you want to go, for example, to the policy, you should click on this. Someone called that as hamburger, but I don't like this. But let's go to, for example, the administration. We can check, for example, the system, and we can see how the deployment is working, how the licensing, how certificates, which certificate is here, how logging the network device. It is where we can register the network devices, so ASAs, FTD, switches, and so on. So let's see if okay, here it goes, it comes back. So what we can, one of the first things that we can check here is show network, just to validate if the host name, the IP address, and those informations are okay, and it is FTD01, security lab, the IP address, the gateway, so everything looks good. We can also do a ping system, and this is a trick because when you hit tab here, it doesn't complete the command, so you have to type it. So ping system and 10.1.1.254. if you don't use system, you won't be able to ping, so you have to use system for the FTD understand that you want to test the management network, and I will show you guys why. So this device, there is nothing configured yet. So if you do show route as example, there is no route, so there is no interface. So with the ping system, it uses the management interface, and if you do only ping, for example, for 10.1.1, it will try to use one of the giga interfaces, not the management, the system interface. So that's why it doesn't work, no route. Okay, so one of the other thing that we need to do it here is configure manager add, then add, and we should put the IP address of the FMC, which is 10.1.9, 10.1.1.9, and a password. I will use Cisco, and that's okay. As soon as it's confirms to us, we go to the FMC dashboard and add this device. Okay, here it goes. Show manager to check the status of that. And let's do our first capture on that. So capture traffic. It is capture traffic. We can do, it is the 0, the only interface that we have. And let's see, -N, -C for packet, for the packet host, 10.1.1.9. Okay, capture traffic. I did something wrong. Maybe I need to check my notes. Okay, here is 0. Cap will be -n. Host 10.1.1.9. Here it goes. So we will see all the packets that's coming from the FMC to this FTD, right? So let's see it. Let's check it out. Let's go to one of the things that we need to do it before add the device is to check the license. I know that we use the evaluation license right now, but let me see something. If sometimes it's complain about the license, so say, hey, you should enable the license first, then before add the device. But I don't think for this one we'll need it. Okay, so let's go to device management, and well, add this new device. Okay, add this new device is 10.1.1.10. okay, 10.1.1.10. FTD01, Cisco, no groups. We must select one access control policy. I will create one just as a network discovery, so we'll allow all the traffic to pass through the firewall. So let's do this network discovery. Network discovery only. So this will not block anything. We'll just check the packets passing and try to discover any more information about the network. I will tell you about you guys how that works when all the lab is done. So it's gonna create the policy. This is something that you must do it. There is no way, no other way. Since we are using FTDV, we have to select the tiered. So I will use the first one, which is the lowest when we talk about resource. I'm gonna use malware, threat, URL filtering. There is no net between FMC and FTD. I will talk to you guys about that also. And let's register. And let's see if you can see some. Oh, here it goes. There is some package from the 10.1.9 on to 10.1.10 on port 8305, and you can see that we have some flags here. So we have the ECK, we have the push, P is for push. Probably on the top of that we have the first thing, but on this application it's not possible to show. I will change this to put when the lab is done. But as you can see here, they are communicating. We have the SYN and the ECK, and probably it should works. Yeah, it should works. Is adding the device. So this is one of the things that we can do to check the communication between FMC and FTD. It should do some capture, check if it is working, check if there is communication between them, and so on. So as you can see, the capture traffic works, and I cannot scroll up because this application doesn't work like this, but we can check this later also, how the SF tunnel is working. FMC and FTD works on port 8305, that's the default one. I know it's possible to change that. If I remember correctly, I can check that, but usually in my deployments and the clients that I worked, I never had to do it. So I just leave it the H305. One of the things that you should be aware is if there is a firewall between FMC and FTD, maybe the FMC is one side managing FTD in another side. So you have to open the H305 from FMC to FTD. As you can see here, the first package is probably comes from 10.1.1.9 H305 with the destination the FTD 0110.1.10 on port H305. So the first pack comes in like this one. First package comes in a higher port, but the destination is 8305 on FTD. So let's see. Okay, now it is reading the appliance in check if check the health, applying some configurations. It's just say that FTD01 is not sending heartbeats, but it is loading. So let's wait for that. What else we can do while we are waiting? Okay, let's do a show managers here, just to check if the communication between them is completed. Here we go, it's completed. So we just need to wait a little bit. I will speed up this part of okay, that's awesome, it's done. So let's do the basic configuration on it right now. For the FTD, let's put the IP address to run, configure the outside, configure the inside. Let's configure also the routes, because there is a /29 between this device, so FTD doesn't know how to reach these networks. So we're gonna do this basic configuration right now. Let's go and jump into this. So just click on the pencil here, and we will see the interfaces, the routing. If you want to use inline set, I can explain to you guys what is this. If you want to have DHCP on the FTD, or if you need to have a relay relay on the DHCP requests. For example, it passed through the DHCP server is behind the FTD or ASA. You have to configure the DHCP relay. Here is under the device. We can check good information about the device. For example, if it is the license that is using the transfer packets, the FTD name. We can check, for example, the serial number, the time zone, the host. For example, under the management, if you don't want to get alarms because you're gonna reload this device, or you're gonna upgrade this device, and you don't want to get this kind of alarm here, appliance heartbeat is not sending heartbeat, so you just go here and disable the management, and we will stop to see that. But after you are done with that, you should just enable here. Okay, what else you have here? The name of the access control policy, the name of the per filter, the name of the default DNS, advanced settings, the CPUs. On this new version, since we are having the Snort 2.0, 2 and 3, we have the option to revert to Snort 2 also. I will talk about that later. So let's configure the interface first. So Giga Zero, it's on the internet. So will be our outside interface. So let's enable outside internet ISP. I will select there is no mode. We have to create the zones, right? This is a next generation firewall which is based on zone, so the rules is not applied only to the interface. It is not applied to the interface. Rules is applied to the zones, so I can have 3 or 4 interface on the same zone, and I just create a rules for that zone and will apply to all the interface that is on the same zone, right? So I'm gonna use the classic names here outside just to be clear. Okay, so this is on outside. The IP address here is 172.116.10.100/22. Let's go to the next one, 01. Okay, giga 01. 01 will be a /29. What I did with this is /29, I select 10.1.4. okay, 10 dot, there is a typo here, 10.1.4.1 to FTD01, 2 for FTD02, 3, 4, and 5 is the VIP, and that's why I select /29, because /30 will not work for this case because we need 2 IPs here, and I will show you guys why when we configure the high availability. So okay, here it goes. Let's go to our next one, which will be inside interface. Security zone will be inside. The static IP will be 10.1.4.1/29. IPv6, if we are using, we have some configurations here. Under the advanced, we can enable unspoofing, which will be a good idea, and we can leave this one as default. I never had to change that, but it says allow full fragment reassembly and overwrite the default fragment setting. There is a default fragment settings under the platform settings, and I will show to you guys. So we can override that configuration, and select here what is which is the default one for that. I never had to use that, but we can talk about that later. Hardware configuration will be auto, and I'm not using this for to management the device, so I don't need this one. So we are good on that. So we have the inside, the IPv4. We added the unspoofing here. We can put the active and the standby MAC address when we have the high availability also. So let me just hit OK here. And I think for the interface right now, and then when we are going to configure the high availability, I will grab another cable between them. We will be directly connected to configure it, so we're going to use giga 03. So for now, let me save that and go to the routing. Okay. Here goes validating. Okay, be patient and please wait. Okay, let's go to routing. So we need to create some static routes right now. I will show to you guys the options here later, but let's do the basic stuff here first. So first of all, we're gonna have a default route, say any IPv4 to the internet. So it's gonna use the outside interface, and the IP address is 172.16.80.1. There is 2 options here. I can create an object here with the plus button, and and apply here. As you can see, it doesn't find anything with this IP, or I can leave like this and just hit OK, and we'll apply the configuration. Works on the same way. So I will do this because it's the easier one, but let's say that it is always a good idea to use object, but sometimes people use the object like ISP gateway, and when you go to here you don't know the IP address because it is the name of the object, it is ISP gateway, and then you have to go to the object and find out. So let me change that, and sometimes it's possible to do that, but sometimes it doesn't. So what I'm doing in my deployments to make this visible, for example, is this ISP underline 172.16.80.1. So when someone take a look at this object, it will see the IP address at the first time. It doesn't need to go to other place to check the object. 172.16.80.1. And now here goes ISP and the IP address. That's a good idea. I like to use like this because when I will hit OK, and you can see here the difference, right? Because if I type ISP gateway, I don't know which is the IP of the gateway, probably, if I'm new. So I have to go to the objects and try to find out the object and so on. So that's why I use the objects like this. So the next one will be the route for these networks: VLAN 10, 20, and 30, and 40. And no, 10, 20, and 30 because 40 is directly connected. And our gateway on the inside interface will be 10.1.1, 10.1.4.5. So HSRP, let's say VIP 10.1.4.5, 10.1.1.4.5. So this is the VIP, is the gateway, and here go the networks that we have to send to the inside, because we don't know, right? We are not directly connected, for example, to the 10.1.1, to VLAN 10, to VLAN 20, to VLAN 30. So let's create a route here. I could use, for example, since all of these networks are here, but let's be more specific on these routes and create some objects here. So I will say net 10.1.1.0 underscore 24. This is a network 10.1.1.0/24. Same thing to 10.1.2. This is a net 10.1.2.0 underscore 24. It is a network 10.1.1.2.0 24. Okay, there is typo here. And 10.1.3. net 10.1.3.0 underscore 24, just to be easier to find out, and 10.1.3.0 24. Okay, saving objects, and let's find this object. So what are we doing right now? It is to reach this network, send to this gateway on this interface. That's the way it is. So to reach these networks, send to this IP address, and this IP address is available on that interface. Okay. Here we go. Let me save that. Awesome. We have the inside network routes. We have the default routes to the outside. We don't need policy since we are doing only network discovery, but to this device goes to the internet, we need some routes here. So let me enable this guy. This guy is here. There is no VLAN, there is nothing configured. It's just for me to have two interfaces to the two firewalls. Let me configure some net here. So we have to create net on the FMC and FTD. We have to create a policy and apply it. So let's create our net policy here. It's gonna be applied to this firewall. And let me show you. This is let me explain to you that this is like the ASA. So the net works as the same way as ASA works, and we have the net rules before. So the one which is more specific, we have the auto net rules, which is the ones that we can, for example, publish a server. We can do the autonet for some access to the internet. Will always depend on the rule, what kind of rules, but basically we have the NAT rules process first. If you do a show net, it is the session 1, autonet is the session 2, and NAT rules after is the session 3. So it goes from top down. And let me create one rule. The network rule, which is the, oh my goodness, sometimes this happens. Let me see something. And okay, let me refresh this phrase. Sometimes this happens on this version. And I think the last time I got this issue that doesn't show the boxes here to select the interface and the objects, I had to change to Firefox, but let's check it out. Okay, net policy, add. Yeah, I will need to change this. So let me do the net later. Let us just apply the basic configuration now. On the next video we configure that, because I need to change the browser version, and this will take some time. So basic stuff here, right? Configure the routing, configure a basic ACP that doesn't block anything, and configure the interface. So let's deploy this configuration. In a real world, this should be more quickly, but in a lab, as you know, it's lab is lab. So sometimes take more time. So probably I will speed up this part of the video. So on this new version, it is optional to give us deployment nodes. We can do the deploy without it, but I think it is a good idea to us. So basic config network discovery ACP interfaces IP and routing, just this, and deploy. So let's wait for it. We can also do, for example, some of that commands to check the communication. Let's see if you can do a okay, system support SF tunnel. I don't think if this version has this command, system support SF. No, this version doesn't have it. This command. So this probably should go through I forgot the name, through the expert mode to check. Here you go. So if you go to the expert mode, and type sudo sf tunnel status.pl. It's gonna ask for the password, the one that you changed it. Okay, apparently it's good. What else you can check here? We can remove, let me see. Okay, we can do the PM tools status pipe grep SF tunnel. So the PM status, PM tools pipe grep SF tunnel. I think it's gonna ask for the password. Okay, sudo. I do the right. I will check this later. Okay, it's completed. Let's get out of this. We can do that later. And check why this one is not working. So show IP. Here goes. 10.1.4.1, so we can do ping for 10.1.4.5, which is the VIP. It should works, right? Show route. So we have the default one. To reach this network, we send to this guy, which is there. For example, we can also do a basic test here, 10.1.1.254. We should be able to ping it. All of the three networks. So this one, the first ping we failed. Okay, now we have the ARP for this, so it doesn't fail anymore. Okay, here it goes. So we are good on this one, right? We have basic connectivity, and I'm gonna stop this video right now because it's so long. Let's try to broke this. On the next video we are gonna configure nets for this device, go to the internet. We will keep the configuration with ICE. Let us configure some users here to do some tests. Let's start to jump on the FTD configuration to get all the networking, configure the ACP. What else you can do it? Configure nets, check some logs. So I think that's it for today, guys. Thank you for your time. If you can, please subscribe, criticize, like it, comment, tell me how can I improve myself and help you guys to improve yourself. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.